Hey, you're watching Vinyl for Miles, your best resource for music, audio gear, and vinyl reviews. Today we're taking a look at some entry-level audiophile gear. We're looking at the TA-10R from xDuoo. Stick around. Today, we're focusing on some entry-level audiophile gear. We're looking at the TA-10R from xDuoo. This is a wonderful all-in-one desktop dock and amp, and not just an amp, a tube amp, all for under $400. I often get asked from people, what's the most important piece of gear I should buy when listening to music? Whether it's vinyl, listening to hi-fi or master quality audio, what is the most important piece of gear? Well, it really depends on how you're listening, but when it comes to listening with headphones, number one, your most important piece of gear is going to be your headphones. To drive those headphones though, you're going to need an amp. And to decode your master quality audio, you're going to need a dock. This solves pretty much everything you can think of for a desktop unit, requiring any kind of decoding, requiring any kind of amplification for your headphones, even has a balanced out if you have balanced headphones or balanced cable. This is an all-in-one unit and it's under $400. I'm actually shocked at how cheap this was. What I thought I'd do is just give you guys an overview and my opinion of how this performs over the past year, because I've actually had this for one whole year. I bought this with my own money. I consider myself an audiophile, but I have not dove into the realm of headphones up until 2021. In January 2021, I bought 2 pairs of headphones. I got these closed back Bayer Dynamic, I believe these are the 177X Go, which I bought from drop.com. Really great dynamic headphones. These almost are noise canceling with how much isolation you get on these. So I bought one of these mostly for like music editing if I'm doing some track editing or recording. Great pair of headphones. And then I also bought the Aria from Sendy Audio. And these Aria ones were a lot more expensive. They're planar magnetic headphones and they're open back headphones too. So they breathe, they kind of give you the more live concert feel when you're listening to your music. And they also pick up on the minute details that you would not hear unless you were using a high quality setup. I'll put the link below to where I purchased both of these. I got both of these off of drop.com. I picked up the TA-10R from Apos Audio. I'll put a link below as where I bought this as well. And I lucked out and had a coupon and I got this thing for $290. If you're familiar with dock and amp systems, usually you stack them. You buy the dock separately and the amp separately. You stack the two on your desktop or wherever you're listening. And that can run you quite a bit of money. I mean, you're talking 500 plus to get a good setup going. So when I saw this go on sale, I really had to try it out and see what all the fuss was about. So going over the features, the TA-10 is the black version of this. It's the older version. The TA-10R is not just a new color scheme in red, it's actually a full upgraded unit. So what upgrades do you get with the TA-10R versus the TA-10? Well, first off, you get a fully upgraded chipset, so it could decode higher bitrate audio. You get 8 inputs and outputs. I believe the previous version had 6 or 7. You get a brand new screen on here. This screen has a lot more real estate, it has a lot more options, and it's more intuitive to the user. You get a balanced headphone input. The previous version did have this cable here, the balanced cable input, but it was not an actual balanced signal. And you get this wonderful red color scheme on here. And this is not just paint, this is actual red aluminum. It looks killer, it's lightweight, it sits on your desk and is just awesome. So going from the outside of the unit, on the very front here, going over the dials and features on the front, like I said, you have a balanced input, you have your standard headphone jack here, you have your volume and input selector. So this is a 2-in-1 knob here. You can push down to change your input, and this goes through one of the different inputs in the back. There's coaxial, optical, auxiliary in, USB in, and that's it. On the back, you do have several ins and outs. What I primarily use this for is kind of like the media center for my studio and my office. When I'm working during the day on my Mac, I go to the USB in, and if I want to have some focused listening while I'm working to music, I usually have Tidal running, listening to some master quality audio. I plug my headphones in, I crank it, and I'm set. If I don't want to use my headphones, there's an RCA out on the back of this. So any of your inputs you can feed directly to a pair of powered speakers. So not only does this serve for my focused listening, but it also serves as kind of like my multimedia ins and outs for all of my audio. I have my PC over here when I'm doing music editing or if I'm doing video editing. That goes into my optical in straight to my speakers. It just takes the signal, it doesn't amplify it or do anything to the signal, but it lets you pass through and have an input selector using the TA-10R. Now when it comes to focus listening, this is a tube amplifier. So it's not fully digital and it gives you the flexibility to do some tube rolling. If you've never heard of tube rolling, basically that's trying out different tubes in the amp to get different results, different types of audio frequencies, different feel, different dynamics. And first thing I did was I took out the I think it's a 12AU7, the Chinese cheap tube that came in this. I tossed that instantly and I picked up a really nice Mullard. It's the 12AU7 ECC82. And this is recommended for any kind of low gain, low noise type situation, perfect for hi-fi gear. I did do one upgrade to this tube when I bought it, and that is the low noise and microphonics upgrade that you can get with Tube Depot. Now I did it before and after, and when I put this tube in here versus the stock Chinese tube, holy crap, there is such a difference in sound. It sounded fuller, warmer. It felt more like you were in the room with the band when they're playing, opposed to just listening to a digital, dumbed down version of what you would have on an MP3. It just blew me away. Absolutely loved it. Now on the front of here, where your tube input is, there's this guard to protect the tube so you don't break it. This actually comes off. It's just magnetic. So if you do like the look of the dock and the amp without the tube protector on there, it's very, very easy to pull off. You're gonna get the highest quality audio too out of this using the USB input. And this will accept any headphones all the way from 8 ohms to 600 ohms. So it's a pretty widely supported amp here. You can use pretty much any headphones with it. All right, so the really cool thing about this system is you can have multiple sources playing at the same time, meaning I'm listening right now through the balanced out on the dock and amp, but at the same time I have my XLRs going to my speakers so I can actually listen to both at the same time. So if I need to pop my headphones off and have a reference, it's a great way to have a reference between headphones and speakers if you're using this. At the same time, you can actually take both the headphone inputs and listen at the same time. I have my Bear Dynamics hooked in to the standard jack or the output, and I have my Sendy Audios hooked into the balance output. So you could literally A/B your headphones and not lose any volume, not lose any clarity. It's a pretty powerful system. So the last thing I want to go over with you guys with my review of this system is some tips on how to use it with Tidal. So I'm a Tidal Hi-Fi subscriber, my whole family is, and what I use for my primary listening is the Masters. There's some tips here. If you have the TA-10R and you're using Tidal, other audio apps, if they support hi-fi or master quality, they're gonna have the same thing. You'll just go to preferences, audio quality, and you're gonna wanna bump that up to as high as it possibly can go. On Tidal, just look for the little master icon. So I was listening to Coheed and Cambria earlier, and right next to this album, you can see the word master. It's gonna be highlighted in yellow. You're gonna wanna go to the bottom right of the screen, so let me record this for you. So what you're gonna wanna do is go to the bottom corner of the screen. You wanna click on the speaker icon, select the device or the dock or amp that you're using. So I'm gonna go ahead and select TA-10R. Click on More Settings. You're gonna have this window pop up, a modal window pop up. You're gonna wanna turn on exclusive mode. What this does is it lets the Tidal application get full control and use the full potential of your dock. If you go to force volume, I usually turn that on. That's gonna force the volume to a specific rate with no distortion, so then you can use your amp to turn it up or down. You're not gonna use the volume control on Tidal. That, again, utilizes the dock and the amp to its fullest capability. And finally, the pass-through MQA. This will disable like software decoding on your computer and use the decoding chipset that's built into your dock. I always have that on if I'm using this. If I'm just listening to music on my MacBook, I'll keep that off because then I could just use the chipset built into the MacBook. But this is a lot higher quality when it comes to decoding the audio, so turn that on. Those three settings are gonna make a world of difference to the hi-fi quality and master quality that you're gonna have when listening to music. Now, these will not take effect if you're listening to just standard MP3 quality on Tidal. It's only for hi-fi and master quality audio. That's how I use my setup. That's my review of this system. I've had it for an entire year. I've been extremely happy with it. I showed my wife how to use it so we could basically balance all of our audio between all of our different devices and have the option to listen directly with our headphones or use our speakers. Again, you could roll the tubes and do some research of the best 12AU7 tube that would fit your audio and listening needs. It's a very powerful amp. It can definitely make you go deaf if you turn it up too loud. There's more than enough oomph in this. If you're using closed back or open back headphones, it's going to be loud enough and get the clear dynamics and get those headphones moving to the point where you need it. Now, there's obviously several levels higher that you can go with a system like this. You can obviously spend thousands of dollars getting the highest quality dock, highest quality amp. There's other amps that xDuoo makes in the same kind of price range. If you're looking to expand on the tube-driven type of amps, they have amps that have 2 or 3 different tubes within them. This is just a single on the preamp. But again, this is a great entry level. This is probably the best money you can spend under $400 on a dock and amp combo. And if you have small real estate on your desk where you're listening to music, this fits pretty much anywhere. All right, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Consider giving me a subscribe if this is your type of thing. If you like hi-fi quality audio, if you like vinyl music reviews, and I've been doing more guitar gear, and I have more guitar gear I'm gonna be featuring on the channel. So if you're a guitarist, it might be worth a subscribe on your end too. So until next time, I'm Michael. Thanks so much for watching, and see you again.